Now, before I go on to say what Jesus says next, you remember from the vision that when Jesus looks at Peter and looks at John, he smiles at them in a different way. Now Jesus is going to explain why that was. And actually it shows the specificity of these visions and Jesus' commentary on them, and how you can't afford to just kind of be half asleep when reading this stuff. It's so rich in meaning. I looked at Peter and John in different ways because I wanted to say to the former, Peter, make sure you are not lacking in charity and sincerity as well. And I also wanted to say to him, as my future pontiff, remember this hour, and in future, judge as your master did. Whilst to the latter, a young man with the soul of a child, I wanted to say, you can judge, but you do not, because your heart is like mine. Thank you, my beloved, for being so much mine as to be a second I. I sent the 2 disciples away before calling the woman, as I did not want to increase her mortification with the presence of 2 witnesses. Learn, O pitiless men, no matter how guilty a man is, he is to be treated with respect and charity. You must not rejoice at his annihilation. You must not be pitiless, not even with curious glances. Have mercy on those who fall. I pointed out to the guilty woman the way she should follow to redeem herself. To go back to her house, to ask humbly to be forgiven, and to obtain forgiveness through an upright life. Not to yield any more to the flesh. Not to trespass on divine goodness and human kindness, in order not to expiate more severely than at present for 2 or many sins. God forgives, and he forgives because he is goodness. But man, although I said, forgive your brother 70 times 7, is not capable of forgiving twice. Now, before I continue, we come to the point where Jesus speaks about the blessing, or rather the lack thereof. I think it's very relevant to, is it Fiducia Supplicans? And I think we can gain something. I think there's a website from a fine Irish fella. It's Decrevi Determined to be Catholic. He's actually done some videos on Maria Valtorta. Good stuff. Worth going to have a look at his YouTube channel. Did I say website before? YouTube channel. Decrevi Determined to be Catholic. D-E-C-R-E-V-I. Decrevi Determined to be Catholic. So, Fiducia Supplicans, if I remember it rightly, the one where we have all this expansion of blessings, new blessings, as the document itself says, blessings that haven't been available before. A real new chocolate box of blessings. Jesus says about the woman taken in adultery, I did not wish her peace, and I did not give her my blessing, because she was not fully detached from her sin, as is required to be forgiven. In her flesh, and unfortunately, not even in her heart, there was no nausea for sin. When Mary of Magdala savoured my word, she became disgusted with sin and came to me, full of goodwill, to change completely. But this woman still hesitated between the voices of the flesh and those of the Spirit. And in the excitement of the moment, she had not yet been able to use the axe against the stump of the flesh and cut it off in order to go, once she was mutilated of her greedy weight, to the kingdom of God, mutilated of what is ruin, but increased with what is salvation. I'll just pause again. That reminds me of the statement of Jesus in the Gospels. If thine eye offend thee, pluck it out. It's better to go into the kingdom of God with one eye than to go to hell with both your eyes. But anyway, this passage, just to reiterate, just to underline, he did not give her his blessing because she was not fully detached from her sin. And full detachment from sin is required in order to be forgiven. So if we have people coming to priests now for blessings, and the Catholic Church leadership is sanctioning blessings for those who are not fully detached from their sin, then there's a problem. Now, full detachment from sin, it didn't seem that in every instance in the Gospel, or in Maria Valtorta's visions of the Gospel, that a person had to be perfect when Jesus blesses them. The full detachment from sin seems to be that there's a firm commitment not to sin again, as we have to have when we seek absolution in the confessional. But under the new regime that we've had since late 2023 or thereabouts, it seems that you can go to the priest in a state of sin as a certain kind of couple and seek a blessing without a firm detachment from sin, at least without the intention to stop being a couple in that irregular union. So, either this is not of Jesus, in which case we need not worry about what's being said here, or it is of Jesus, in which case there are some changes we need to be effected to reassert the traditional teaching on blessings.